I was born in Buffalo, New York in 1983, and I lived in a suburb of Buffalo pretty much my whole life before moving to Florida about 4.5 years ago.
I was born in a suburb of Buffalo, New York called Kenmore in 1983 in April. I lived there most of my life, from the time I was born to roughly early 20s when I left and moved to Florida. And then I've been bouncing back and forth between those two states ever since.
I think I always knew I wanted to be a mother. When I was little, I used to play with my dolls and pretend they were my babies and carry them around and take care of them.
I honestly didn't think I was ever going to want to be a dad. When I was younger, I was kind of crazy, and I was all about being free and wild and crazy.
We went to the same elementary school, but we were never really in the same classes. Middle school, we hung out somewhat in middle school, but then high school again, we weren't in the same classes, kind of drifted apart until after college, actually.
I first met Nicole in elementary school in like fifth grade, and we didn't have the same classes, but we knew each other. And then in middle school, we started to hang out a little bit, and we were friends. And I liked her, and I'd walk her home, and then we kind of drifted in high school as I had different friends and different classes, and we'd still see each other. And then after we graduated, it wasn't until 2008 that we got together.
We finally got together about 6 years ago. We went out to coffee and kind of went from there.
It wasn't until I met Nicole that I decided I want to spend the rest of my life with this woman. I want to have kids. I want to start a family. I want to do all the fun stuff, which really is the fun stuff.
I think I knew it was the person I was going to marry on the first date. We went out to coffee. He's just that one.
We first got together after I asked her to go on a date to a coffee shop in December of 2008. And my car broke down on the way there on the side of the road, and I had to pull it off the road, and I actually drove on a flat tire all the way to the coffee shop where we were having our date. And I'm glad I did, because we might not have had a chance to get together.
Our wedding was wonderful. It was a intimate little picnic wedding at Gemini Springs in DeBerry, Florida, and about 80 of our closest friends and family were there, and it was wonderful.
So I first found out that I had a brain tumor in February of 2006. It turned out it was a oligodendroglioma astrocytoma mix, which they call a glioblastoma. It scared the crap out of me, and I thought I was going to die. And after a surgery, I had 2 years of chemotherapy, and then I did 2 years in remission. So during those 2 years of remission is when I started dating Nicole, and I was okay up until April of 2010 when my cancer returned, and it was the first time that Nicole had ever dealt with that, and I felt horrible because I was putting her through this. I'd already been through it, so to me it was no big deal, but to her it was hard, and it was scary because she hadn't gone through it for the past few years.
Dave being sick was very hard, and I think it was harder on me than it was on him. Found him consoling me more than me consoling him. Should have been the other way around, but it was hard to deal with, but we made it through.
I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to have kids or give her a family, and that's all I ever wanted to do, was give her a family and make her happy.
The doctors said that it was a big possibility that we would not be able to have children, and that they weren't sure with all the chemo and radiation and all all of that, whether we would be able to have kids or not, that we would just have to wait and see. And we waited and waited and waited and waited for about 2 years before we were able to even try.
Well, after 2 years of chemo and radiation, I went back into remission, and the doctors told us that we were going to have to wait like a year or a couple of months before we could have kids, and then they told us it would be a little longer, and then a little longer, and then finally they gave us the go-ahead.
When we were given the okay to try to have kids, we had no idea that it would happen so quickly on the first try. We were pretty sure that we would try and then go through in vitro and all of that, and lots of money and time, and so we were very pleasantly surprised when it happened right away.
When we were together for a couple of years, Nicole had not been able to find a job in New York. She had a master's degree in education, and teachers were not in demand in Buffalo or New York in general, anywhere in our area of New York. So my parents had just moved down here, and I had been going back and forth from Florida and New York for many years. So we decided to start looking for jobs down here, and Nicole found a job in Hillsborough County as a kindergarten teacher. So that's when we moved here.
Before I was pregnant, my life was work and coming home, hanging out with Dave, school, work, just the usual day-to-day stuff.
Life before pregnancy was a lot of us hanging out together, just being, in love, and going out to eat and going to movies and going, for walks and going hiking and bike riding and just doing a lot of stuff outside and yeah, it was great.
During pregnancy, my life changed quite a bit because it was a very sleepy time for me. Very tiring. I would work and then come home and fall asleep, and I was known to fall asleep sitting up mid-sentence. But then the second trimester and summer vacation was nice and had a little more energy, and then towards the end of the pregnancy went back to being very sleepy again. The worst part of pregnancy was probably the first month and a half or so, when I was very nauseous every morning going into work and being sick for the first couple hours of work, and throwing up and all of that not so fun stuff. But the very best part of pregnancy was definitely feeling the baby move and kick and all that, and being able to see her on sonograms and hear her heartbeat when we went to the doctors. My labor was actually very quick and pretty easy.
They saved that one up for like a double.
Well, it is Tuesday morning, and we are having contractions. It started at about 4. We're looking at around 5 minutes and 15 seconds apart at the moment. Last one was only 8 minutes apart though. So
Contractions are fun.
any time now would be great. So we'll check in from the hospital.
I started having contractions at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and by 8 o'clock we were calling the doctor's office hoping they were open because they were already 4 minutes apart. And we went into the doctor at about 8:30 in the morning, and she said definitely go right to the hospital because baby was ready. And we got there, and the labor was actually pretty quick, aside from the fact that the doctor had an emergency surgery in the middle of my labor, so we had to put my labor on pause and stop pushing for about an hour or so. But by 2 o'clock we had our baby.
Well, we're in the hospital now, and it is 12:20. We're waiting on the doctor to come so she can start pushing again, because she already started pushing. So now we're just waiting. So hopefully Zoe will be coming soon. For me, I was very focused on what I could do for Nicole and how I could make her comfortable, and it scared me when she was having her contractions because I couldn't do anything. When we finally got to the hospital, I thought I was going to freak out and that I was going to be just a madman, because that's kind of who I am. I'm anxious, I have anxiety, and I was very surprised that I did not freak out really at all. Only the time when her stats, the baby's stats, dropped below to like nothing, and we were scared because her umbilical cord was being pinched under her arm, and it was relatively quick. The baby came fast, and it was honestly an experience I wouldn't have traded for anything in the world.
First meeting the baby was the best moment of my life. It was wonderful. My little peanut.
I honestly, when I first met my daughter, I didn't think I could love anything that much. With just seeing it with your eyes and being like, oh my God, she's beautiful.
Since Zoe was born, we have adjusted pretty well to life. Getting used to her routines and the sleepless nights and the feedings every 2 hours and everything like that. But I don't know, I find it very hard to get anything else done, because we find ourselves just staring at her and playing with her and talking to her and just taking lots of pictures of her, and most things around the house are not getting done because of that.
So my life has changed a lot since she was born. I play less video games, I go to less movies, but I sit there and I watch my beautiful baby, and she is just amazing. Every little face she makes, every little thing she does. I thought when I was growing up that I would never change a diaper, and that it was disgusting to me to think about somebody pooping and peeing in a little diaper and then having to change it. But to me, it doesn't bother me at all. Nothing like that bothers me. I don't even care. She can poop on me, pee on me, puke on me, and I'm okay. I cannot wait to find out what my daughter is going to be like when she's older, because I just want to see the person that she's going to grow up to be. And I think that she's going to be a nerd just like her dad, but I think she's going to be the sweet and awesome person just like her mom.
When she's older, I don't know what she'll be like. I can't wait to figure that out. I think she'll be her own little person, and I'm just so excited to see what she grows into. This is little Zoe Ann Green. She was born on November 25th, 2014 at 1:53 in the afternoon. She was 6 pounds and 15 ounces. She was 20 1/4 inches long, and she's our little peanut. And she's just absolutely perfect in every way.